Cool. Perfect. Thank you so much for that beautiful intro, making me smile. Um, Thank you everyone for firstly just for coming out and coming to listen to Lil Ol Me. I'm excited to share. I honestly miss like these kind of meetups and hangouts. Growing up when I was younger, there was a bunch of them around the city, and I think we've all kind of been caught in the rat race, and we all trying to like make it and become whatever. So that in doing so, we've kind of forgot about the community aspect to illustration, design, and I'm just happy to be here. Just really, really grateful to be here. So I'm gonna jump straight into it because I'm hoping to do a nice Q&A later, and I'm gonna encourage everyone, like if you have any questions or if I have any questions, I'm gonna ask. So please just throw everything my way. Quick intro before I get into it. Name's Russel Abrams. Started Yay Abe as this idea of like starting a studio space, and I used to freelance for like a bunch of studios around Cape Town growing up. Eventually at some point I stood back and I was like, wait, I can also do this. So decided to start Yay Abe. The idea behind it is that I really wanted a studio name. It's like a family studio name. So like Abrams and Sons, like something cool like that. And it was like, okay, cool. How do I celebrate the family name? And it became Yay for Abrams, and then it became Yay for Abe, and then I was like, oh, okay, just Yay Abe. Part of that is also just the balance of like three letters. So I just wanted that like 3, purely based on that. And your intro was so funny, Phil, because when I think it was last week, there's a young artist on the scene called Art Barbade. I'm not sure if you guys seen his work, but amazing designer. And he sends me a message and he goes, oh, your name's just Russell. And I was like, and then he sends me a broken heart emoticon, and I was like, oh man. So it is quite the funny one. So I'm gonna jump straight into the work, and we can just have a discussion around everything. So let's get creative, but only if you pay me, has become my mantra for 2024, right? It's all like born and bred from this idea that like all of us creatives need to get paid for the work we do and get paid correctly, and it's a standard that's kind of missing in the industry. So my response to all of that was to make this little t-shirt graphic that I just posted on Instagram, and I was just like 2024 mantra, walking into every agency wearing this t-shirt going forward. And it was quite like a tongue-in-cheek approach, really just like me trying to like give myself my own affirmations and then share that with younger people on Instagram. And then through this and seeing how people interact with it, it's really become like my motto. And it's like, not to say that I'm only doing work for the sake of monetary gain, like that's not the end goal ever. But I think it's definitely like grounded me to like say yes to the projects I want to take on, and it's design. I used to always like laugh at lecturers and stuff, and they were like, yeah, design can change the world, and I used to just be like, oh, okay, like it's definitely not it's not that tool. And as time started going on, I started seeing how we can like make active change. And recently I worked with Warner Brothers Music to create a playlist, and each stream from there would plant a tree in the world, which is like, and just to be able to be like a part of that. And this was like last week when I was like, oh, okay, like this is cool, and I can be a part of something that's bigger than myself and just the work. But this is definitely the mantra. I think like it's something I try and like teach a lot of like younger people getting into the industry, just because there are like a lot of sharks out there that can take advantage of like the young mind, and a lot of the time we want the opportunity, and the opportunity seems great and all, but like at what cost? You know, like I've done a lot of things in my life where I like yes, the work was amazing and everything was great, but I didn't walk away with like a cent from anything. And like I try and like avoid putting another young person in that position. So I always talk about like, listen, like if you're doing corporate work, you're working for a big corporate that has that extra cash in the pocket and a few extra what's can make your life a little easier. So I'm gonna jump into the work that I said yes to for money, and then we can just go through everything. So on the right we have the Adidas Tower, and it was a cool project because it started as an email thread from 2015, and Adidas was like a client that I really believed in, and they created work that I wanted to be a part of. And I used to send emails out, and still do, but I used to send emails out like 5, 10 a day when I started, and I was like, okay, cool, like how do I get in front of the people that I want to be in front of? So I was like, I'm just gonna force myself into their spaces. I'm gonna send emails out, and if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, I'll just try again like the next month. So I remember getting a reply from Addy back in the day, and they were like, listen, like you're still young, the work is looking good, but just keep pushing. And one day we definitely are gonna work together. And that happened from, probably 2014 all the way till about 2021. And they eventually popped back up and they were like, hey Russ, like we're ready now. And it's like, just been waiting, like it's fine. But I think so at the time, the work or my work personally wasn't to the point that I wanted it to be at. The minute they reached out, I was a lot more confident. I knew how to charge them this time. Like I knew exactly how to go about all of that. So we created this tower for the Impossible is Nothing campaign. The image on the left, the interesting part about that is that was last year. So 3 years later, the team came back and we needed to celebrate their originals campaign. And they asked for a t-shirt. They wanted to do like 1,000 prints and 1,000 t-shirts to celebrate 1,000 originals. And it was a fun project for sure. But the interesting part and why I added that there is because I was always scared to draw anything below this point of any character. So I only ever drew like busts and heads, as you can see on the right-hand side. But I would never draw anything below the waist because I was just too scared. So the challenge there that I gave myself was, okay, cool, like if I just extended, I had an old sketch and I was like, what if I pull the canvas down and I just have to draw everything underneath there? And it was such a fun challenge because I was at a point where I didn't need to perhaps do that. I could just draw people's faces and shoulders and get away with it. But it was for me, like the challenge was to kind of make something new and something that like excites me again, because I think a lot of the time we get stuck in this weird cycle where we just do the same thing over and over again. And I think a lot of illustrators and designers, we get caught in that and we constantly kind of do the same thing over and over again. And I think especially as freelancers, we need to focus on kind of like refreshing our styles and voices constantly. Because at the end of the day, people get used to seeing one thing. And the worry for me, that's something I worry about a lot, is just staying kind of relevant. Because if I'm not relevant, I fall to the side and the work stops coming in, and it's like something I've seen. So just staying fresh and on top of everything helps a lot. This was sorry, this was a fun project. It all started just via a DM, and it's a French studio and a French lady, and she's I'm not doing the accent, but I can't do it. Not gonna happen. But she just she sends me a DM, and she's like, "Hey, I know it's late, but we need to start this project tomorrow morning. So if we can get your like buy-in right now, we can start." And I respond, and I'm just like, "Cool, I'm in. Let's do it." And then the next day, which was the Friday, I promised my wife that I'd take her away to Wilderness. So I'm like bags packed already, thinking like I say yes to this project, and we go away, we come back on Monday, and we can start illustrating. And as I'm driving to Wilderness, which is about 5 hours away from here, get a phone call, and she's like, "Cool, need to jump on a call like right now. We're about to start this like kickoff," and like pull over, and I'm just like laying on the grass, like smoking a vape with like kicking my feet in the back, and I had to like start. Like I had a full-on panic attack because I'm trying to keep wifey and myself happy and life happy, but on the other end of the spectrum, it's about like an amazing opportunity that I can like build my career with. So I say yes to it, and I'm like, okay, cool, gonna balance everything out. 7 in the morning, me and the wifey are in canoes going towards, just going towards like a hike. And in my mind, I'm going, okay, cool, like not mentioning it to her really because I want to keep the focus on us two. So I'm like, okay, cool, we're going to do this canoe thing, and then we're going to go hike for 2 hours, watch the waterfall. I'll be back by 12. She's going to be tired. And then she'll take a nap. I'll quickly do a sketch. And that whole weekend, I think we finished the initial sketch for this. This was the carpet or the floor for the AFCON ceremony. The sketch was done by like Sunday morning, and then feedback was coming around like 2-3 o'clock. So I jumped in the car. We rushed back, not rush, but drive slowly, normal speed, get back home. And then yeah, the project just like I think I didn't know how grand it would become at the end of the day. Like I was like, okay, cool, we're gonna do the carpet, the podium, and like chat to them about kind of like the flow of the ceremony and like where the dancers need to be. That's why there's this massive blank space in the middle. And then I remember seeing it. The crazy part was the ceremony was on my birthday, so it was this like ridiculous experience of like being with friends and loved ones, and then getting to experience like probably one of the biggest like moments of my life. I was meant to go up, but again, like wifey organized a beautiful birthday for me, so I was like, I'll stay, I'll watch this on TV, it'll be fine. But yeah, I think when these kind of projects happen, like it's things I wouldn't have imagined that would happen. Like it's things that when I was starting out, didn't think was possible, and then all of a sudden, like you get to see it on TV with like millions of people around the world. It also gives me like very like delusional confidence, where if anyone asks me like, what's the next thing that you want to do? And I spoke to a friend the other day, and I was just sitting, I think we were having a few beers, and I'm like, oh man, like I think I probably want to do the opening ceremony for the Olympics one day. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I think so. Like one day, like I just want to do the opening ceremony, and I think that will be fun. I have this weird belief, so like I have patience for days. So if that happens in 20 years time or whatever, I know it'll probably happen. I just need to constantly work towards that goal. So yeah, be a little delusional, and like you'll get things. Sorry, just have some friends coming in. Savannah and Ryan, hey. Sorry. This is project for Heineken, and it's always it's always special when I talk about them because they were the first brand collaboration that I ever did. So I think it was 2013, 2014, and in retrospect, it was like just drawing on some sneakers, but I at that point have never done anything like that before. Panicked like no tomorrow. I remember crying about drawing on sneakers, and my dad had to come and like fetch me because I had to paint 10 sneakers, and I did it the night before, and I didn't sleep, so I just couldn't drive, and the client needed it by 8 a.m. and I was like varnishing them off by like 7:30, and then I had to call my dad and be like, oh man, can you please fetch me and take me to the, I guess, MNC Saatchi at the time. So we go there, and he's just like why are you crying? And I'm like, oh, I was drawing in sneakers all night. And it's like, it's so funny when you like work in this industry and like the random stresses could be like, you have someone give me a random thing that you've worked on that stressed you out. Has anyone had one, yeah? Exactly. And it's like, it's so funny that these are our stresses half the time. Yeah, that's a good one. Throw the rest away. Oh man. Out of interest, is there anything else, just for my own pure enjoyment, is there anything else that anyone has stressed about that like seems weird but it's very valid? Picking a font, yeah. Yeah, there we go. Oh man. Cool. Okay. Then the next project that like I thought I'd show you guys was working on this like Disney experience for The Lion King. Definitely like a milestone project. I remember getting briefed on it, and they were quite like particular in who they were choosing. So they were like, okay, cool, like you can do some sketches, and if the gods choose you, you might work on this cool project. And it's like, that already just kills my soul whenever we have to like be pitted against each other. It's like, just choose one. Like, no, we didn't need to go through all of that. But ended up getting it, which was amazing. And the best part about this project was the fact that like the first part of the brief was rewatch The Lion King. So it was about like 2:00 on a Wednesday afternoon, and I'm acting like a grown man. I'm just like, okay, cool, babe, listen, like, do your thing. I've just got some chocolates and chips and things. And I was like, I need to go work now. And then just like, boop, on the couch, watching The Lion King. I think I watched it about like 6 or 7 times during this project. But yeah, I think it's such a like full circle moment, because the first animation I ever watched probably was like The Lion King. The first movie I cried to was this. And then getting to like redraw Simba for, I guess, the giant that is Disney. Yeah, it's definitely like a project that I'll always remember and like be happy to have been a part of. And so in the same way, it's like, I think with the work we do and the work I do, I always want to kind of have a legacy around it all. And this just feels like one of those moments where it's a little tick of like, okay, cool, like we'll talk about this, we'll circle back in like 20 years time, and I'll brag about it again. Cool. I said no today, and this, oh God, guys, this is a topic that like I'm still learning about. I'm a big people pleaser. I think a lot of us in this room probably are, but it's something I'm trying to like share out into the world so that like people are easier on me when I do say no. Most of the time I don't. Like, I think I think as much as I put this up and like shout about this, I think a lot of the time I go, yeah, we make it work, you know, like, you know, that budget's not great, or like the timing isn't great, but like we can make it work. But when I do say no, like that's when I realize like I get more time for myself, my family, and just like the work gets to breathe a bit, you know, like the work gets to like, it's a little reset button. So yeah, I've just been making these like fake T-shirts for myself. But I think it's like eventually one day these T-shirts will probably come out. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. I should have brought. But yeah, I think I've been making these as purely as like a creative outlet. Like, things don't have to be as polished. It can just be a simple message, a simple doodle, but yeah, there's meaning behind it, and to me, they hold and retain the most value. So when I do say no, I get to work on myself as an artist, and it's something that I never used to put time into because I used to think like brand work is the be-all end-all, or collaborating and doing corporate gigs is what we as illustrators should do. And then when I just got married, and came back from honeymoon, and I was like, should work because all clients think I'm still on holiday and no one's giving me work. But what happened, I think it was like the month of July last year, I got to step back just a little bit, spend 30 days just creating paintings, and the work that came from there was, all these paintings, and I think I did about 12 of them last year, and I was just like knocking them out. The interesting part about it all is that the work started changing, and it went from like elaborate illustrations to toned down, more subtle like artworks. And I think the thinking there was that like eventually this is gonna live in someone's home. And my mind goes like, how do I make artworks? And this is the result. The interesting part, and the part I loved about this, was that on my birthday last year, so just after AFCON, I go, okay, cool, like I'm gonna sell them. And it was the scariest thing ever. I had a friend tell me, I was like, oh, why are you lying on Instagram? Like, cause I made a sappy story of like, oh, the little reel where I'm like turning, reels start here now, you have to turn the artwork. And turn the artwork around, and the little message is like, oh, I'm so scared, like I really want to sell paintings, but I'm just don't know how to do it. And it was honestly like a very honest response, because I know I can sell to brands and I know how to put my work in front of brands, but selling to like people that support me and just love the work, that was honestly the scariest thing. And then I sold all 12, which honestly blew my mind, and it gave me that confidence boost that I needed, because I never thought that like someone would see the painting or a piece of work that I made and would want to put it on their wall or just like keep it as a special item. So it's taught me a lot more about just like how I perceive my own work and the work I create for myself, and it's taught me to like put value on that, right? Because a lot of the time I think young artists, we put value on like brand collaborations, and that gives the work meaning or value. But it's that, to me now, it's like the work that I create in my free time, the work that I create for myself, those little things that seems like insignificant, I think that's where like true value lies in your work. So I'd encourage everyone here today, like, all those random projects that you've never worked on, or you've just said like, keep it to the side. I think like push those, put that out into the world, and like a lot of the time, or more often than not, that's the work brands anyway want. Like a lot of the things I've done for myself in my personal capacity, that's the work that brands always reference. It's the honest work that we've done. So just be kind to yourself and put the work you haven't showed anyone out there anyway, and good things always come. More of the I said no work then comes to like personal work, and like this honestly is the work that like gets me super excited. This is work that like I get to create while I'm on the couch or while I'm laying in bed, or the first thing when I wake up in the morning, I'll start a little sketch. There's always just an honesty about it, and the interesting part is like, although like all this work looks the same, the techniques used and the final outcomes are like quite different each time. I think a lot of the time we focus on style as young artists, right? We go, cool, I need to find a style, and then we stay there, and then we just churn out that shit like non-stop for like 5-6 years, and then it becomes like monotonous and people kind of get used to it. So I always encourage people like, do the work you want to make, but then also like experiment around that. Like the work doesn't always have to be like the same copy paste route. Yeah. So far right or what? Far left. Just a cool illustration, I guess, and it's like I always draw people from the side, and I'm slowly but surely learning how to draw people from front on. But it was quite a whimsical style. I've never revisited that. I've made it once and then put it out there, and it's something in the back of my mind. I'm always thinking like I need to go back there. There's something special happening. The style in the middle is something I also like quite a bit. Illustrator has a cool 3D tool. It's magic. And people always ask me like, oh my God, when did you learn how to do 3D? And I'm like, the other day. And it's just a button. But yeah, it's like experiment with your tools and like create as much as you want. But yeah, there is something special there. And then on this side here, again, like, I think it was just like a cool character that I was like, I need to explore. Do we still have time? Time good? Okay, cool. Perfect. And then support young designers. This is a super important topic to me. I think, like, my career, I don't think I would be where I am today if the older generation didn't feed back into me and didn't like help uplift me. I started out illustrating by doing a lot of Woolworths work, and I was always quite like, it was never the work I wanted to do, and some friends in the back that would attest to my pain. Not pain, but it was botanical work and like botanicals and things that weren't like cool gang illustration style things. So I think for like 6 years of my life, I was just knocking out flowers each day. I can draw a mean like daffodil flower now. But through that support, like through working with them, they showed me. I mean, I did my first illustration for them, and I probably charged like 1,500 rand. I was like, yeah, 1.5, and I went back to my dad. I was like, just charging these Woolworths guys 1.5 illustration. And he's like, definitely not. Like, you should probably go. I'm sure they have more money. And then the Woolworths team had a agent in there named Shani Judes, and she started managing me there. And she was like, no, Russ, like, we can go like a lot higher, yeah.
1.5 an hour.
1.5 an hour, exactly. And that became my bread and butter for a long time. And I always tell people, like, if you're going to freelance or whatever, like, have your security. I had mine through that, which was great. A lot of the time I remember going for lunches and stuff, and I was like, oh shit, like 150 in the pocket. And I was like, can't get that burger. But eventually, like, the freelancing gig started working out. And then just lots of support, you know, like the older illustrators would sit me down, have a coffee with them, that explain like how they run a business basically. And it's always something that I was like terrified of. But yeah, support. So if you are from corporate and can give young people work, you should give them work. But yeah, I'm just gonna jump into a few people. So these are like some young artists that I really admire. Their work is, I think it's the work and the work ethic that makes sense. So yeah, take photos. One of them is here, it's Flying Duck Design. He's in the corner there. Hey yo. And Ziad's just gone like full freelance now. So it's like, it's a tough thing to start, but you're gonna be great. But yeah, I think if you have time, you should definitely check out each and every one of them. Their work's amazing. I think we need to like nurture young talent in this country a lot more. I always say this, but like I wouldn't be where I am if my talent and passion wasn't nurtured. So I'm forever grateful for the opportunity to be where I am, and then giving back to younger artists. Yeah, so definitely check out this lot, and then another three that I think are like championing the industry right now. Yeah, it's a fun industry. Thank you. Perfect.